baby.
Yes, sir. What's up, Alec? How you doing today, man? Good to see ya.
I'm doing pretty well today, Steven. How about yourself, man?
Man, I am great. Looking at the calendar, it's October 28th. November is just around the corner, which obviously means a few things. But before we get into that, the year's flying by. I'm surprised that it's already November, but here we are.
Yeah, you and me both, dude. It's kind of scary how quickly it's flown by. Like,
For
literally,
sure.
it's going to be 2023 next year, and that's just kind of wild. It still feels like, I don't know, 2020.
Yeah,
But
man.
here we are, 2022. Scary season's just around the corner, and a couple of other things are just around the corner, as you mentioned.
Yes,
But
sir.
couldn't
Yeah,
be more exciting.
lots is always around the corner. But back to it, we are at 17 episodes of podcast Elrond. Pretty crazy, man. Like when I was planning for this, it was like, oh my gosh, like 17 really sounds like we're getting into it, man. That's crazy.
Dude, it is wild, and I will say we've definitely grown a lot since the very beginning. And
Mm-hmm.
our prior podcast was, I mean, with the CEO and CSO and founder of UTRUST,
Yeah,
Nuno
yeah.
and Sonia. So that's been pretty cool. The video's been doing really well, and the community's been, showing the support as they always do, and I couldn't appreciate it more.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So if you're maybe new to Podcast Elrond, definitely check out our channel. We have lots of other episodes, but specifically now three different interviews with teams building on Elrond Network. The last one of which was, as Alec just said, with Sonia Khan and Nuno Correa, the CEO and CSO of UTRUST, which is a super good video, a lot of positive feedback. They were acquired by Elrond Network back in January as a big bet on Web3 payments. So yeah, man, I had a whole lot of fun having them on the show. How did you like the episode? Thinking about it after the fact.
I thought it was a great show, man. I thought it was good conversation, and we got a lot out of them. It seemed like they really enjoyed it as well, which is definitely a great part
Yeah, yeah.
of it all. And I think hopefully in the next couple weeks, couple days, just UTrust will. They've obviously been doing some awesome things, and we'll see what they got to say at the upcoming X Day conference.
Yeah, yeah. As Sonia mentioned when our interview was going on, the next few weeks for them are going to be really packed. I mean, if you follow Sonia on Twitter, you see where she's posting from. And two big things UTrust have announced since our interview, one of which was a really quick integration. UTrust onboards the Bitcoin Lightning Network. And kind of a bigger news item, UTrust is onboarding the city of Lugano in Switzerland.
Wow.
So there's a whole article about it. We'll drop in the description of this video. But it's hilarious hearing these points from UTrust because our interview, I feel like, really focused on like UTrust as a whole, and we didn't really try to pull any sort of announcements or anything out of them specifically because X Day is just around the corner, and that's Elrond's thing, and UTrust made it clear that a lot of things were going to be behind closed doors. So I took that to mean it's really not worth asking whenever the response is probably just going to be, yeah, we can't really talk about it because it may or may not be an X Day thing.
Yeah.
But it's been awesome to, I mean, it's like the UTrust interview on podcast Elrond dropped, and then like UTrust just like, as per usual, as expected, they just keep on popping out with these pretty exciting announcements. The Lightning Network, and then the city of Lugano in Switzerland, which is absolutely gorgeous. I saw some photos of it. I don't know. It's very dreamy.
It's incredible that they've been able to onboard an entire city. But yeah, Lugano, definitely dreamy. Switzerland itself is a fucking just fantasy land when you drive through it. It's
Wrapping up with the UTrust interview, we have those 10,000 UTK tokens that we have a Google form that we're going to be selecting the winners, 20 winners. The Google form will close on Saturday. So depending on when exactly this interview drops, it should be Saturday, but we'll see. It might be too late, but if not, make sure you get those submissions in. I will be a 10-hour flight from United United States to Paris, and I plan to read some of those submissions. So there's probably close to 100 already. So really looking forward to that, but really appreciate the engagement from the community.
Yeah, man. Speaking of, dude, how excited are you to be taking this fucking flight out to Paris to go to X Day, bro? Like, how excited, man?
Man, I've had like kind of waves of excitement here and there. Like I'm trying to keep it all kind of like pushed down, but I think it's all really starting to settle in as my flight leaves in just a few days here. I'm questioning, oh, should I, adjust my sleeping schedule a little bit? Should I just go for it and just do my best? But I'm getting really excited. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. I recently was able to get some sweatshirts printed with the podcast logo printed on them. So I'll definitely be rocking some podcast Elrond merch at X Day in Paris, France. And we'll see. I picked those up tomorrow, so hopefully they come out okay.
I really hope you have a good time out there, dude. So look for Steven, guys. He's wearing the podcast Elrond merch. Go say hi. Don't be shy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get a photo, and then we'll Photoshop Alex's face into all of them, and it'll be a great occasion.
Wish I could be there with you guys. I have a giant freaking convention coming up for my work. So and plus, I just couldn't do it.
So yeah, we'll be giving out those 10,000 UTK tokens from the UTRUST team. Huge thank you to them once more for that. 20 winners, Google submission form in the UTRUST comments section. So check that out. We'll be giving those away sometime in November. We have a lot of submissions to read through, so please be patient with us. But then I also have the 1,000 UTK giveaway that I put out there to gather questions before the interview. So be on the lookout for that to take place as well, with X Day around the corner, specifically for me, being that I will be there. Just be patient. I will get to these giveaways, and looking forward to it as well, for rewarding the community for liking the video, subscribing, sharing it, all that good stuff. We appreciate the love.
All right, man. Should we go ahead and get into this market at a glance and give the people a little taste of what's going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We've got a pretty exciting episode for everybody today, continuing on with our new format to keep it organized, keep it relatable, so we actually get something valuable out of these videos, both for Alec and I putting into the video, as well as you, the viewer, getting out of it. So I'm excited today. I've got two topics that I'm bringing to the table that will include what's cooking at X Day, looking at some major strategic and partnership going on with X Day, specifically what these have to do with the Hatom protocol, AshSwap, and lending and synthetics that are going to be on the Q4 roadmap for Elrond. And the second topic that I will be talking about is more directed at the AshSwap price discovery mechanism, and we'll talk a little bit about the AshSwap platform as well. What have you got for us today, Alec?
All right, so today for my main topic, I'm actually going to be covering Elrond's Metaverse bet, and this comes on the heels of the news of Facebook's Meta stock, parent company Meta, its stock taking about a 20-something% nosedive the past couple of days. So we're just going to go into what does Elrond have planned for the Metaverse, and some of the speakers and some of the strategic partners that are going to be coming to X Day that are also Metaverse focused. For my minor topic today, I'm going to be talking about also Elrond's strategic political meetings that they've been having over the past couple of weeks. If you've been on Twitter, you've seen Beniamin push out a couple of tweets about some meetings with some European leaders. So I'll be going into that and what maybe that might mean for the Elrond ecosystem, and what Elrond's trying to do strategically here. So we can get into that.
We're unofficially labeling this episode 17 as the hashtag Road to X Day special. It's a special, but it's not a formal podcast Elrond special. But we're going to be getting into a good bit of details, hopefully putting together some ideas as to what to expect around X Day. So stay tuned, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on our social medias at Podcast Elrond, where we post the majority of our giveaways as well as announcements for videos. So, as you were saying, Alec, let's go ahead and get into that market at a glance. So you mentioned that Meta stock is had that huge plummet recently, And overall, the traditional markets continue to express a bit of uncertainty, but we're pretty familiar with that in the world of Bitcoin as well. But yeah, what have you been seeing? Have there been any trends you've been taking notice of, and or stocks similar to Meta or about Meta that maybe we're also seeing some pretty fierce downside?
I haven't been paying attention to much of the fierce downside. I've been paying attention more to the overall market. Recently, there were some numbers released. The U.S. economy, the real GDP rose for 2.6% for the third quarter. There's a lot of debate whether or not the United States is actually in a recession. And according to what used to be traditional definition of a recession, 2 quarters of negative GDP growth, which had happened over the past 2 quarters, which would have defined a recession. But a lot of people out there continue to say the United States isn't in a recession because the jobless numbers aren't matching up to the current market conditions. Yes, that is true, though we continue to see high prices in gas at the gas pump, and we continue to see high prices at the grocery store and in other areas of the market. So good news is GDP rose a little bit. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we aren't in a recession. Is this the bottom? Who can tell? Every financial, big financial analyst out there, even Goldman Sachs, has said there's almost like 100% chance we're going to enter a recession. I'm pretty sure they said there is a 100% chance we'll enter one. So that's, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're all still waiting for it to play out. It's a really weird place to be in, but hopefully we'll get a clearer picture in the near future.
It's crazy to think about the traditional markets, but obviously traditional markets and the crypto markets do play in the same overall world economy. And the fact that COVID-19 came through, gave us lots of stimulus, halted a lot of supply chains and economies throughout the world. We're looking at the October 2022 calendar, and assuming that there will be any degree of predictability just really blows my mind. I mean, just thinking about how many different variables have been thrown around in the market, like it's no surprise that we're seeing some inconsistencies that kind of make the indicator of whether or not we're in a recession or not kind of uncertain, especially. So I personally think, and I'm curious, Alec, your response to this. The crypto markets, I'm not going to say whether we're bullish or bearish. I'm a perma bull there. It's a matter of time. But with regard to traditional markets, I just feel that not a recession per se, but a retracement, speaking broadly, is pretty like, it feels like it would be a healthy next step. Like, we've gone through years of growth in so many companies. Like, there's definitely a bubble in the tech world, and I feel like the traditional markets and stocks, they probably should go through a retracement period of time so that specific companies can, be forced to focus their resources and their mission. I mean, the crypto market is a different beast, but when it comes to just like indexes, the overall economy and stocks in the U.S., I feel like a retracement, a time of sideways movement seems fair, seems logical. What do you think in response to that? And do you have any predictions about, just where the market's going to go?
I think that makes a lot of sense, Stephen, because we have a lot of companies starting back in late 2019 all the way up until now that had this mass overvaluation, including Tesla, including Facebook, including Twitter, including a lot of these EV companies that emerged during that time. You had companies that were worth a couple $1 billion but never produced one car. Not a single working thing. And like, there's many instances of that. So yes, I think we are due for a retracement. I think we are due for people to relook at the value of some of these companies and recognize that maybe a lot of this could have been just hype valuation, just everyone and there's also been a lot of retail investors that have moved into this space as well. So I know, like, not retail investors usually don't have a shitload of money, but if you have a lot of retail investors together, we saw what happened with GameStop and a
Yeah,
couple
man.
of, including Bed Bath and Beyond. So all this flood of money into the market probably helped with the overvaluation of these companies, and I think you're right, though. We need to see this retracement, and a lot of these companies that we used to think are worth billions and billions of dollars, maybe we need to go ahead and rethink that and let
Mm.
things cool off a bit and go back to what are reasonable fucking prices.
Yeah, and it reminds me of something Sonia said in our interview. It's a negative thing whenever we see bear markets like what we're seeing in the crypto world. But as Sonia said, and I totally agree with, like you hate to see it, but it's important for the strong to survive, for the strong to gain a spotlight. And the bear market gives those breathing spaces for maybe some of those companies that really shouldn't be around in the first place. It gives them an exit out the door, and that just increases the probability that the good, solid projects with a promising future will survive. So I mean, thinking about what you said about the EV market, man, there was definitely a bubble. And it's funny you actually to mention that, because I wanted to mention that I followed through with selling Tesla stock. I bought some Tesla stock using their employment plan when I was working for them. I moved all of that into UTK metastaking. If we don't get into numbers, or if I don't have a chance to show it to you, I'll go ahead and say that it's competing well, and I'm looking forward to continuing to share the progress of that.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, with regard to just finishing that up, I think that there is a bubble in the traditional markets, and I think it'll be healthy for some of these companies to go through times of scarcity rather than abundance, and we'll see these companies improve over this period of time so that they can start to gain more customers. But I do think that the blow off top we saw since the COVID-19 stimulus went crazy, I think that there is a lot of fluff that has been brought into the market. And I definitely see a period of retracement and or uncertainty for probably, I would say, like close to the next year to 2 years, and hopefully that will give not a bullish attitude in the markets, but enough stability in the economies so that new industries like cryptocurrency can have more faith and people can flow their money into crypto rather than, oh my gosh, like traditional markets are no longer really competing with the rate of inflation as well as the economy at large. So it's, we'll see what happens there, but I think I've said enough.
Yeah, I really do hope that this downturn doesn't last a very, very long time. I hope it's short lived in maybe a year or 2 years. I know that might not seem short for some people, but I don't know. If we can get over something like this and get back to a growing economy, that would be really cool if we did it in that kind of time frame. But I'm always hopeful for the future, and I always think things will continue to eventually turn around one day, and it won't always be bad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Want to jump into just a little bit of going over any updates to our Maiar Dex portfolios. I have some updates that I already kind of mentioned, but Alec, remind everybody what your strategy is within the Elrond network ecosystem. Where is every ESDT that you own?
So everything currently right now, I continue to stick on whatever I'm doing. I have all my eGold held in my Maiar wallet,
Mm-hmm.
and I have all my ESDTs on the or the Dex, the Maiar
Mm-hmm.
Dex. I have all my locked mechs farming in the locked mechs farm for more locked mechs. I continue to reinvest that all the time, and I also, of course, because I have my locked mechs in the locked mechs farm, I am eligible for meta bonding as well. So I continue to claim my meta bonding rewards and reinvest everything. Not a penny is coming out. Everything's staying within the ecosystem. I'm just trying to keep building my base without adding any more money into the market, because with the amount I have with my APR and everything, I'm allowed. It doesn't produce like an ass load, but it produces a couple eagled every now and again, and that's enough for me to feel pretty good about things, because one day those couple of eagled used to be worth $540 a pop. So,
Yeah.
I'm just excited for the day things continue to go up and my APR really feels significant one day. So, your boys hanging in the ecosystem, not moving really anything around. How about you, Steven?
Yeah, I mentioned I sold Tesla stock, moved that into meta staking liquidity provider token for UTRUST, which has been pretty fun. I staked that about a week or two ago. I can't quite remember, but I've already earned $21 in UTRUST and close to $50 in MEX.
Nice.
So just before this video, I compared the two, and unfortunately, between selling the Tesla stock and actually getting it into Maiar exchange, I ended up losing probably close to 3% through fees and transactions and everything. At this point, the amount that I have is just about $200 shy of what my Tesla stock would be worth if I had never sold it off of E-Trade. So I think that that is only the beginning, and the fact that we have a lot going on with X Day, I think that that meta staking position with its passive income I'm earning is quickly going to compete with the Tesla, what would be a value if I still held it there. So I'm gonna make some more posts about that to get the community kind of more involved and see if we can't catch some attention from Elon Musk. But yeah, other than that, I did remove some liquidity from UTK and ended up buying some more locked mechs. I
Oh,
had a huge post that I put on Twitter as a contribution to EGLD initiative, and it got a lot of attention because whenever you tell people, "Oh, I bought locked mechs with EGLD," they think you're crazy because they don't seem to understand that the point of mechs and locked mechs is to incentivize, aka bootstrap, liquidity to Maiar exchange. If there was no incentive like mechs, there would be no reason for people to come along and put up their money to be used as liquidity providers. So that has a lot to do with what we'll learn at X Day. I am assuming we'll hear a lot about Maiar Exchange and the MEX token, but I have purchased locked MEX using eGold specifically because whenever you do so using locked MEX exchange, I'll put a link in the description, you can sell your locked MEX for a huge reduction in eGold value. But what I've been doing is I've been putting in, for every $1 of eGold, you get spit back out $1.60 worth of locked MEX. So basically, because people are so willing to sell their locked MEX for that liquidity, that e-gold, they're willing to take a huge haircut, which is positive for them. They get the cash in hand and they get to swap with somebody who inherently values the locked MEX. And I'm specifically playing the chart, the locked MEX versus e-gold chart, and using the meta bonding to collect passive income while I keep my eye on the exchange rate between e-gold and locked MEX on locked MEX exchange. So the locked MEX is interesting though, and somebody told me recently that they saw it as a index fund, which is
hmm.
kind of interesting considering if you stake your locked MEX in the meta bonding pool, the meta bonding tab on Maiar Exchange, then yes, you get passive income in all of the companies or whatever that are electing to do the meta bonding. So in a similar way, like the S&P is an index that captures the value of top 100, that's going to, in a similar way, the meta bonding will kind of collect this value from the ESDTs. So kind of this ESDT index fund through meta bonding. But yeah, that's in try to keep it short there, but yeah, got some Tesla sold, got some locked MEX purchased, and just kind of hanging out waiting for UTK and eGold to kind of see what's going on there.
I really enjoyed your index fund comparison there, Steven, because I never really thought about it that way. Yeah, you are like when you are doing meta bonding and staking your locked mechs, you are investing in a lot of different companies because they're rewarding you with stock or
Yeah.
coins and those companies. That's definitely a cool way to think about it.
Yeah, and specifically the emphasis, the reason that I'm doing this is because to emphasize for every $1 of EGLD that you put into this exchange at this rate right now got me $1.61 worth of locked mechs. So staking EGLD on Maiar, you get about 10 to 12% APY, and that's about the same you get from meta bonding. But whenever you consider the fact that, oh, I'm going to stake $1 of EGLD versus $1.61 of locked mechs, then even though those started as the same $1 of EGLD, because of that locked mechs transfer rate, you're actually earning, 161 time or 161% more than what you would through staking Elrond on the Maiar the Maiar application. So you are technically earning, if you swap at a more favorable rate like that, you are able to generate more yield through meta bonding than staking EGLD through Maiar. But do it. It's risky. You have to establish your thoughts on the future of locked mechs. But like I said, I'm playing the specific EGLD to lock mechs chart. So as long as I'm swapping lock mechs and EGLD at favorable rates, it doesn't really matter in the long term if locked mechs is going to be a winner or not, because these are liquid through the locked mechs exchange. So I'll leave it at that. But pretty cool stuff.
Nice, dude. Did you have some more updates on your portfolio at all, or any?
That's about it. I think that about covers everything. Still pro meta staking liquidity provider. What it doesn't matter if you're into UTRUST or one of the others like Ethereum or Ride or CRT. All of those are available to meta stake liquidity provider, which gives the 3x income streams. So I'm a big proponent of that. If you're curious about why MEX is a token, then provide liquidity, and you'll see that there are bootstrapping rewards to take advantage of. So not everybody is willing to do so, and that's okay. But for those of us who want to provide liquidity to the DEX, that's where you're going to see the most favorable rates of earning MEX and locked MEX. So we'll wait to see what is announced at X Day, but I do also believe that MEX will be, through Hatom protocol specifically, will be a asset that you can take out loans and as well as lend. So that's also what I'm betting on, is if I buy $1 of EGLD right now for $1.60 worth of MEX, it doesn't matter when the unlock period of my locked MEX is, because I'm able to use it for lending and borrowing through
Mm.
Hatom protocol. So what are you saying? I can buy $1.61 of lock mex for $1 worth of EGLD, and in the future be able to lend based off of this multiplier. Like, it's something that I'm willing to take a bet on, and I've said enough about it. I feel like this is now just like the LockMex special rather than the hashtag Road to X Day special. So I will digress from the whole LockMex conversation, but let us know in the comments if anything sparks your attention. I will also link that Twitter thread that I posted that details the swapping that I'm taking place.
Well, let's go ahead and get into X Day, man. Let's start talking about
Yes, sir.
what the fuck's gonna be going on, dude. Because it's an exciting time for the Elrond community. It's an exciting time for Beniamin. It's an exciting time for the
Mm-hmm.
Elrond team. So
Yeah.
we're both looking forward to what's gonna happen, and of course, Steven's gonna be heading on down there to see what it's about in person.
Yeah, brother. Looking forward to it. And at this point, there's so many speakers that it's hard to really pinpoint what it's going to be about until it actually kind of, starts popping off. So, yeah, man. I know we've talked several times about what to expect with X Day, but like I said, what's cooking at X Day is the first topic that I really wanted to bring into the conversation. So, really, the high look at what is cooking at X Day is, I mean, how many partners do we have at this point? I should have counted before this, but we have 5 platinum partners, 6 gold partners, 3 silver, and then several strategic partners like MasterCard, which is, I think, a huge player. And specifically, some things that we have on the quarter four roadmap are the Maiar app 2.0, DeFi 2.0, which includes lending and synthetics, merchant yield, which, as we know, comes from UTRUST, and then the fourth bullet point on Elrond's quarter four roadmap is that Elrond conference. So at this point, there's a lot to speculate on. And even another item is that a speaker from Binance France will be there, but Elrond actually removed the announcement from their Twitter page, and there's a lot of questioning about what could be going on there. But you can go on xday.com and see that one of the speakers is David Prinquet, or I don't know how to pronounce that, but he's the general manager at Binance France, and he has not been formally announced as a speaker at X Day. And if you notice on XDay's homepage, there are some bullet points on the side of the screen, which are going to be announcements in approach to XDay. And there's a final one that's yet to be revealed, and I'm not sure what exactly it's going to be, but I think it could have something to do with a final announcement of maybe who might be sponsoring it, and or who might be a partner or another speaker at the event. So we've got one more, it looks like, announcement to go before X Day really pops off. But with regard to the speakers, before I kind of move on to that Hatom protocol and what lending and synthetics are from a high level, Alec, what do you think about all of these speakers that have been announced? And we've, over the last couple days, several new team members have been announced from the Elrond Network Twitter account. So things are definitely ramping up. What is your impression about all of this as we're 5 days away from X Day?
It seems to me like they're laying some roadblocks. There's some kind of like cornerstones being laid here.
Roadblocks?
I meant, I didn't mean it like, I meant like cornerstones. They're laying some cornerstones
Gotcha.
for a foundation, and I'm not quite sure what is going to be built on top of that. But they are announcing some really interesting key strategic partners, like especially Mastercard and another one that I don't remember if they're strategic or not, but Improbable, which is a metaverse company that specializes in building like metaverse worlds and hosts the
Mm.
metaverse worlds. Like they are having a lot of things that you could easily, if you were to have that wall, like trying to find a murder and draw strings between things, you could
Yeah, yeah,
easily
yeah.
draw a lot of strings between a lot of these strategic
Yeah.
partners and make up your own story about what might happen. But I think I think something big is going to be coming. They're
Do
talking
you
to a
know
lot.
that it's always sunny in Philadelphia? That meme of the yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good, man. That's exactly the meme I was thinking about when I was describing that.
Connecting all the dots.
Yeah, but I think they are positioning themselves to make some big moves, especially in the European
Yeah, man.
ecosystem.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and we've seen this road to autonomous banking on Elrond's website for a little bit now, and we've been talking about lending and synthetics for a few episodes now. But quarter four 2022 is when we're expecting to see that rubber hit the road, and I just think that there's some few key elements, like some of those lines that I'm drawing. So on quarter four, we have the Maiar app 2.0, which, I mean, we didn't sign like an NDA. We don't know anything that anybody else in the world doesn't. I mean, we pretty much know that my app 2.0 is going to integrate with UTRUST's Hold HQ app. So this is speculation. We have not confirmed this from anybody, but I am 99 to I'm essentially 100% sure that Maiar 2.0 will mesh UTrust platform and have this e-commerce huge super app as discussed in the UTrust interview. We've heard a lot of discussion about it, and one of the recent partners, or sorry, not partners, but new team members from Elrond is also going to be focused on looks like marketing. So on top of this, so we pretty much know that Maiar app 2.0 is going to be UTRUST's new phone application as well. And UTRUST is big on these Web3 payments, getting lots of revenue from big merchants, and $100 million was already done in 2021 from them, as we learned in our interview. On top of this, since UTRUST was acquired by Elrond, as was TwistPay. TwistPay is a platinum partner of Elrond's for X Day as well. And as we saw back earlier in the year, as well as last year when it was first announced that Elrond acquired TwistPay, which TwistPay is the owner of the first e-money license in Romania. And this is back then, was in October of last year, was pending approval of Romania's national bank. And then in March of 2022, we had the link or the article on the blog that the Romanian central bank approves Elrond acquisition of the institution TwistPay, which won them that e-money license since Elrond formally acquired TwistPay. On top of that, we have the Hatom protocol, which I mentioned is going to focus on lending and borrowing crypto assets within the Elrond ecosystem, which is a metaphorical shoe that needs to be filled. And just at a high level, what are synthetic assets in DeFi? So basically, they're derivatives, and so basically, a synthetic asset is a derivative, and a derivative is really just an asset that derives its value from an underlying asset or index. So that is what a synthetic is, and that has been confirmed on the roadmap for Q4 2022. So yeah, and you know what? Therefore, what things can be derived, you know, as these synthetics? You know, we can derive gold, silver, tangible assets. You can derive normal stocks, and or even, I mean, they're completely open. It's an open protocol, as we know Web3 blockchain is. So anybody can create a derivative of any asset. Which I think it may play a role as well in what we're going to see from AshSwap, which I'll be talking about later on. There's really just, I mean, a lot of speculation and other things that I could kind of connect here, but we only have a select amount of time, and I want to hear more about what you've got for us, Alec. But yeah, man, if you check out MasterCard, in closing, MasterCard is very bullish on cryptocurrencies. And I noticed doing some research recently that MasterCard is releasing a platform and a on-ramp for people to buy NFTs with their MasterCard debit card. So they were clear about that they're in partnership specifically with MoonPay as well as some others. This is completely aside from XDay, but they're planning on releasing platforms that have to do with cryptocurrency and NFT onboarding through your Visa card or MasterCard, that is. So between TwistPay, between UTRUST in the Maiar 2.0 app kind of becoming one, lending and synthetics on Hatom, and then another integral part, which is that AshSwap, the recent Maiar Launchpad project, which I'll be talking about a little bit later, which is going to be doing stable swaps, which will allow for assets like USDT as well as maybe USDC, swapping between two stable assets with minimal slippage because they're stable. I'll get into it later, but there's definitely, most certainly, a foundation being established here, just as being laid out with the partnerships. And if and when all of these things really come together and each of these branches of the tree are mature and are able to support growth, man, like these are all integral parts of a DeFi, you know, autonomous Web3 banking era. And I know that we're going to hear a lot about it at X Day. So yeah, man, let me know if there are any things that stood out to you from all of that. Let us know in the comments what you're excited about. But yeah, man, that was the presentation really on just what's cooking at X Day, a little bit of speculation throughout, but I hope that everybody watching this out there can kind of start to put together the pieces as well.
Awesome, Steven. Thank you for covering that for us, dude. Greatly appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, dude. Well, I'm going to go ahead and move into my major topic for today, and that's the metaverse and what Elrond is trying to do with the metaverse and what we could hopefully expect
Yes,
at
sir.
X Day. So, a little bit of background history. Over the past couple of days, Meta, Facebook's parent company, where they changed Facebook to the name Meta on the stock exchange,
Hmm.
is down 20%, and a lot of people are saying that is due to Mark Zuckerberg's Metaverse bet.
Mm.
So their Metaverse, side of Facebook, who is in charge of developing the metaverse and developing, I believe it's called Other Worlds, or no,
Hmm.
Other Side is a
Other
Yuga
side?
Lab. Yeah, Other Side is a Yuga Lab things. Excuse
Oh,
me. It's
right, right,
called
right.
Horizon, or it doesn't matter what it's called. It's the Facebook metaverse, right? So all you got to know is that it's eating up a buttload of money. When I say a buttload of money, I'm talking it's already eaten $9 billion in 2022 alone.
Are you looking at something that does share how that money is being used? That is a ton of money. Holy cow.
The money is just being used to develop the technology that is
Yeah.
needed to even power the
Mm.
metaverse, dude.
Holy
And the
cow.
thing is that we're not there yet. There's Facebook just recently released their headset that is supposed to be like their portal into the metaverse, and it's a
Uh-huh.
$1,500 headset, but people aren't really jumping off their seats to go and get it. Right now it feels a little more like a gimmick than something that is ready for use in the real world.
Hmm.
And now I'll move into Elrond and just a little bit of what are we trying to do with the metaverse here. So we
Hmm.
got a couple of partners coming to X Day, which are metaverse focused, and also a couple of speakers that you can tie to the metaverse as well. So some of those people that come to mind first, of course, are HoloRide, which isn't like it is a metaverse of sorts, but it's a metaverse that you would experience in your car
Mm.
as the car is riding around. It's I think they call it. I know it's like it.
Motorverse.
Yeah, what'd you call it?
They call it the verse. The
Yeah, okay.
motorverse.
So their Motiverse is essentially a metaverse, and it's like it
Yeah,
moves
yeah.
with the car, which is freaking awesome. When you think about that, the technology behind that is insane. Um, but speaking of who else is going to be coming, we got Improbable, which is actually the company behind Other Sides,
Right,
or
yeah.
that hosts the Other Sides world. That is the Bored Ape Yacht Club metaverse.
Mm, mm.
So as you all know, or hopefully you know, Bored Ape Yacht Club is probably the biggest NFT project in the whole entire world. I mean, it's worth like almost $1 billion as of the article that I said checked was in August of 2022. So things could have changed from then. And I should have looked. But anyways, their metaverse called the Other World is one that a lot of people are looking forward to. But so what I'm trying to get at here is that Elrond is also trying to position themselves, it looks like, to be a player in this metaverse world. I know gamification is one of their things that they're striving for, and we got
Hmm.
that with Cantina Royale. And actually, Cantina Royale is already partnered with Bored Ape Yacht Club in order
Right,
to
yeah.
use their NFTs in their game.
Hmm.
So we got Improbable behind that. And speaking of Bored Ape Yacht Club, if you saw on Twitter, Beniamin tweeted that the CEO of Yuga Labs is coming to speak at X Day.
Hmm. I saw that.
So, huh?
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, dude, big fucking news, man. I'm pretty excited about that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a little speculation here.
Go
We got
for it.
Improbable. We got Yuga Labs, the CEO, and then we got Elrond trying to make their way into the metaverse space. Is there going to be some kind of partnership happening between Bored Ape Yacht Club and like Elrond ecosystem? I don't know. It's just the fact that Improbable is also there, who is the powerhouse behind Other Sides, and
Hmm.
like, uh, Benjamin has always been someone who says we're going to build together. We're not going to try to build against each other. So maybe that is, I don't know. I'm just pure speculation here. It would be insane if the Elrond network was able to have some piece of pie or some kind of, you know, piece inside the Other Side metaverse, or just start sharing metaverse, because what Improbable is all about is I always say it wrong, interoperability
Yeah.
between metaverse worlds. You hear what interoperability between worlds, bro. So that means if Elrond was ever able to build a world on this improbable ecosystem that they have, that would theoretically mean that any Elrond ecosystem could communicate with all other metaverse ecosystems built on that world. So there's some more speculation for you. Just some food for thought. Also, we got Philip Rosedale, the founder of Second Life. That was a game released in the 2000s sometimes. That was one of the first MMORPG games where you like escaped your real life and
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
second life in the metaverse, or I don't think it was called a metaverse back then. But what I'm trying to get at here is the world ready for a metaverse? Is this a smart move to start putting a bunch of assets and focusing a bunch of funding on trying to build a metaverse that maybe no one's ready for? But as Mark Zuckerberg said, this is a long play. He still is going to be pouring money into his metaverse because he sees it as a place where all of us are going to be living and working in the future. I have my own thoughts about that. I could never see myself being there, but I do see the value in what the people are trying to build, and I just think the technology needs to catch up. So, just food for thought for everyone. Look at the way Meta is performing right now, and maybe we should proceed cautiously with metaverse technology. But I think it is the technology of the future, and I'm very excited to see what Yuga Labs CEO has to say, and just to see what a lot of these people are going to bring to X Day.
Yeah, man, that's a lot of exciting news, specifically referring to the speaker, the CEO of Yuga Labs. She is going to at least talk about what the future holds for the metaverse, which is just going to be really insightful, which I think is going to be a big overarching theme of X Day is what the future will hold. So, yeah, I agree that there's definitely some dots to connect between Yuga Labs and Elrond's bet on the metaverse, and we'll see what's going on. And I don't want to speculate as much as I want to, but at bare minimum, the fact that Elrond is finally getting some recognition from some of these bigger names. You know, we all know that Bored Ape Yacht Club was just, it came out of nowhere and then it just took the world by storm. But the fact is that it is established and it got there, and it was one of the first NFT products to perform at that level. So the fact that the CEO and some other individuals like the Improbable, they're going to be present at X Day. They are taking note of what Elrond is doing, and we'll look forward to X Day to see what exactly they have planned. And unless it's just they're going to be speakers and they're going to share some thoughts or insight. But yeah, it's pretty inevitable that Elrond is going to build this means for metaverses to, you know, as Beniamin always talks about, these paths to different worlds, and metaverse is definitely world-like, and the interoperability, I think I'm saying that right, between Ethereum and Elrond is something that we can probably hope to expect down the road. But yeah, dude, there's so many different dots. Each day, Elrond releases a new announcement about X Day. There's continued to be stimulation of speculation and trying to draw conclusions on what to expect from X Day. And altogether, I think the big takeaway is clearly Elrond is establishing itself and getting some attention. So, man, I'm looking forward to what we learn from the CEO of Yuga Labs, bro.
Yeah, and shout out to the team, man. You guys are making some big moves out here, and I'm very excited to see what you'll continue to do in the future, because it's obvious that you want to push Elrond and you want to continue to push it. And just props to you guys. Keep putting out that great work, and I can say that I'm super happy to see what is to come. I'm super excited to see what is to come, and the recognition. Yeah, man. I just hope it continues to grow too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. We'll look forward to sharing more about that in the next episode. I mean, that's pretty crazy that the next episode will be post X Day. Do you Do you think that we're going to get together for the next episode and basically just be like, yo, like our minds are blown. This is what we learned at X Day. Like, are you letting your excitement get the best of you?
God, I hope that is the case, dude. I
Yeah,
hope
same.
that we're just like blown away with extreme news and stuff. But time will tell, man. It's not that far away, and that's the best part. So,
Yeah, crazy. Somehow it's 5 days away already. And all of our questions will be answered. You know, this spark that was once as powerful, this fire will be made known to us. And I'm looking forward to seeing if it you know, rises to the level of expectation. So thanks for that presentation,
of
Alec.
course.
Really looking forward to see what, even though I'm not sure how I feel about it, what Facebook is bringing to the metaverse through Meta. You know, they've obviously experienced a lot of loss in value through their pursuit into the metaverse. And Mark Zuckerberg, you know, he got a hit with Facebook, and let's see if he's onto something as well. I think that it's just going to be a matter of time before we see what bigger players are coming in to step up to the plate in terms of what their metaverse offerings are. So I don't, we've talked about how we prefer kind of real life over the metaverse. So it's also something to consider, just, you know, when it comes to buying NFTs or NFT projects that are purporting to start metaverses and so forth. You know, it's clear that these take a lot of resources to build. So if you mint an NFT with like a small team and no credibility and they rug on you, it's like, well, do you really think that they had the firepower to build, you know, these multi-million-dollar metaverses? Like, it's
Billion.
yeah, it's just kind of like a threshold to remind yourself that people can't just waltz into the crypto space and build a metaverse with a few $1,000s from an NFT mint. Like, this takes teams of expertise, knowledge, as well as, you know, funding. Like, you just, at the end of the day, you need funding to build something like that.
Yeah, and we also, if you want like a realistic immersive metaverse, we need tech to catch up to, man. We're just not there yet. And I mean, if you wanted to use the most immersive tech possible today, you would like be wearing a lot of ridiculous shit.
Yeah, you probably look pretty silly with like Google Glass, and I don't know what if there's any other things that come to mind, but yeah, it'd be silly looking.
Yeah, man, I just feel like right now where we are, it's a hassle and it needs to be as simple as, I don't know, putting headphones on kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, just to quote the Nuno UTRUST special, he talks about how you know, sending a payment should be as easy as sending a message to a friend, and just altogether, hopefully, there is a day that getting into Web3 at large, whether it be crypto centric in terms of finances and DeFi or metaverse centric, like it's as simple as, you know, whatever a web 2 equivalent would be, starting a Facebook account, you know, going to some website and signing up for a bank account or something like that. So there's a lot to grow here, and that's probably the main point that I always emphasize with so many people is traditional finance through stocks have already gathered so many resources and established industries, but the bleeding edge of cryptocurrency is especially risky because it's bleeding edge, but there's just so much capital that has yet to flow into crypto. And there's these two huge branches of, as I mentioned, DeFi and using crypto as a means of financial avenues, and then also the metaverse. Like, these are two huge, massive things. And then even a third one, as I'm speaking, is music NFTs, and NFTs are involved in the metaverse and everything. But you know, the blockchain has a lot of use and value, and I believe that layer one protocols like Elrond network are establishing these webs of connection and influence that it will be clear which best L1 to use when it comes to starting your metaverse or your next company, as we've seen with so many ESTTs that have already shown up onto Elrond's ecosystem. So yeah, that segues nicely into the second topic that I wanted to discuss, which is just high level, taking a look at AshSwap, which AshSwap is the latest project to hit the Maiar Launchpad. We have seen the progression of the listing process has been going on for a couple days now after the official ticket and disbursement was taking place through the Maiar Launchpad. So phase one is already done with. We're into phase two now, which gives people the ability to see their lottery results, claim their winning tickets, and reclaim EGLD if you did not win any Ash. So the Maiar Launchpad is the first step for new ESDTs that are Elrond approved, I'll say, to onboard kind of users as well as liquidity in the Elrond ecosystem. There's a KYC process that unfortunately is not available to United States customers. So unfortunately, Alec and I are not included, though it's still something to keep a pulse on. There's still data to track when it comes to how many people are interested and engaged. Nonetheless, looking forward to having yet another ESDT, the Ash token, launching on the AshSwap platform. So yeah, I have a few more pieces of information about that to share, because at the forefront is this idea of swapping stable coins. And like I mentioned earlier, like swapping from USDT to USDC, on the DevNet right now, there are other tokens listed, such as Binance USD, WBTC, which is wrapped Bitcoin, and then REN BTC, which is just another kind of derivative of Bitcoin itself, but it's an ERC20 derivative. I'm excited to see what the Ash protocol brings in terms of what's made possible. I think it's having a stable coin is one of the most integral parts to lending and synthetics on a protocol, and the fact that right now Elrond's network does not have that. As I mentioned, that's kind of some shoes that need to be filled there. So AshSwap is bringing this stablecoin swap to Elrond network, which gives users a safe place to hold their money whenever markets might be uncertain, and or whenever they're swapping from platforms. Say they want to sell their USDC on Binance, but it's on the Maiar exchange, and they don't want to go through the process of bridging that over. So they're able to swap that via the AshSwap, and then just move a asset like BUSD straight to Binance, rather than having to deal with the swap between a wrapped ESDT and over to Binance. So another opportunity is mainly for liquidity providers. Liquidity providers can provide liquidity for those stable coins, and you can earn either the Ash token or VAsh, which is going to include some governance as well as yield boosting opportunities. When it comes to the Ash swap, it looks like this is going to play some role in Elrond having its own stablecoin, which I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to play out, since we've seen other stable coins such as Tether, an algorithmic stable coin, which went into a death spiral earlier this year, obviously created some weariness about how to develop a stable coin that does not result in a bank run, such as we saw with UST. But altogether, the AshSwap is an exciting project with a focused team behind it. So I think something that kind of stands out to me is the just the pure numbers that are behind AshSwap. They have this massive community behind them, over 25,000 followers on Twitter, and a lot of interest on the developer side as well. Mentioned on the website, they have over 10,000 DevNet users, which I'm not sure if that's the Elrond DevNet or if they had other developer networks that they used. Yeah, this is going to take place finally on Maiar Dex. It'll be available for swaps next week, just as kind of X Day is kind of hitting the road. Yeah, the AshSwap is a lot of people were kind of expecting for the Hatom protocol to be the next Launchpad project. nonetheless, AshSwap has come out, and I think that there will be some strategy, some specific dots to connect at X Day that intertwine what AshSwap, the team, is doing there with perhaps as well as what is being developed at Hatom. But they're all on Elrond network, so my understanding is that they'll be able to communicate through smart contracts one way or another. That's how come these ecosystems are so important for these different protocols, like Hatom providing the lending and synthetics, and then we have the AshSwap to do those stable swaps. So I think these are all check marks that need to be kind of checked off a list in order for some of these bigger picture items to kind of come out of the woodwork. But yeah, man, that's kind of what I'm looking for on the Maiar exchange, looking for the price action of AshSwap. There's a lot of people speculating on YouTube. If you just search like AshSwap, they're saying it's going to be the next 100x coin and so forth. But I always kind of practice hesitancy whenever it comes to new token listings. The entire price discovery mechanism that Elrond developed was because the initial Holoride token listing on Maiar Dex kind of resulted in some volatility that did not give a consistent price from investors. So I'm happy to see that there's a safe way to start increasing exposure to new coins on the Dex. And yeah, man, that's AshSwap.
One thing I really admire about the Elrond team is how they continue to, I said this earlier, not try to rework the wheel and build new products, but instead build together. And they continue to bring in these other projects and help promote them and help them grow, because there's no need to rework the wheel. Why should Elrond create its own stable swap mechanism when someone else has already
Yeah.
done it for them? Why should they go create their own lending and synthetic protocol when Hatom protocol exists and they can just bring it into the fold? I think it's a wonderful thing that the team's doing, and I think it's a great strategic thing as well. And speaking
Hmm.
of strategic moves, Elrond team Beniamin has been out making some of his own. If you've been paying attention to Twitter, he has met with Sebastian Berduha, the Romanian Minister of Research, Innovation, and Digitalization. He will be at X Day or speaking at X Day, one of those. But that's something that is one of those strategic moves that I spoke about earlier in the podcast that the team continues to make. They, just as we saw UTRUST onboarding a whole city, it seems that Elrond is trying to, go to a step above that. They're talking to whole people that are involved in a whole country. So I'm not sure what that can mean, but they didn't go into extra detail about that stuff. But Benjamin has also met with the French Minister for Digital Transition and Telecommunications,
Hmm. Yeah.
Jean Noel Barrett, or however you say that with the French would say it.
Uh-huh.
But what I find interesting about that is I believe it was Cointelegraph that dropped a tweet that said France is trying to become the crypto powerhouse in Europe.
Hmm.
So there's obviously Benjamin is aware of what France is trying to accomplish, and Benjamin is also trying to bring the Romanian government along for the ride with the Elrond ecosystem. But I just think it's great that we're seeing Benjamin go out and meet some what I would consider some pretty big names in the European political political sphere. And I hope he continues to make a lot of these networkings or do a lot of these networking opportunities. And I hope he continues to talk to more political leaders, because I believe our political leaders need to be informed about crypto and what it can bring for their economy and their government. So keep pushing forward, guys. This is really
Hmm.
awesome news, and I hope we continue to see more of this.
Yeah, man. I recently, I think it was last week, and like I said, we'll put that in the description because I noticed that Beniamin was recently on a radio talk show. Apparently, I thought the interview was just fine, but the interviewee, the talk show host, kind of got some flack from Elrond because not the team, but some community members, just because he kind of seemed a little bit uninterested in what Elrond was really building. It's so it was an interview that I thought was a little bit pointless, only because even though Benjamin talks a lot about what the future will hold, it's like you can kind of tell that there's a message at X Day that cannot quite be unveiled quite yet. So it's been crazy to see and very interesting. I think it's a great point you bring up there, Alec, about the web of European influencers and policymakers that are showing, they're shaking hands with Benjamin, and the fact that Romania is, this established, rather Elrond within Romania has this established e-money license to disperse assets and so forth is, I think, a clear move for the European nations to transition into Web3. And we'll see. I mean, the U.S. dollar is kind of the head honcho, and it's kind of like the main peg of the world economy. But if the world really does start to shift into a tokenized world, shifting into cryptocurrencies, then as I've been, foreseeing and predicting for years now, I foresee traditional markets based on the U.S. dollar to start to see some insecurity as the US dollar inflation starts to really become realized. So, yeah, the Paris conference is going to be pretty epic, and I think they chose it for a lot of reasons. I mean, Alec, you've been to Paris, so you can talk about the fact that it's an image of fashion, food, and culture, and the fact that it's such a center, and it's kind of smack dab in the middle of Europe, and it's like a literal web on a map. So the web of influence of Paris is definitely an icon, and man, these French ministers, as well as the Romanian Minister of Research, Innovation, and Digitalization. I think it's interesting. The French Minister for Digital Transition, like what are we transitioning to? Like, what could that be? Digital transition. It's like, okay. I'm not gonna speculate, but we have some dots to connect.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I think you're right. Benjamin is probably holding back quite a bit because I think there's going to be some like awesome news being dropped, and I think there's a lot to look forward to, dude. And yeah, man, they're in Paris, France. They're at a beautiful place and shaking hands with some really important people. So I really hope this is all pointing towards something truly great.
Yeah, we will see. I mean, we didn't really talk much about market movements today, but I mean, as long as Bitcoin can at least show some stability, and as long as traditional markets can keep their cool without going through anything too horrifically to the downside, because that would kind of increase fear and uncertainty throughout the markets. But overall, I don't know, man. It's like we're all kind of at the edge of our seats holding our breath with regard to the market direction. And at this point, it's kind of scary in a way because man, if these cryptocurrencies like Elrond really start to begin to grow from here, like if this truly is the bottom, it's going to be a very impressive bull market that we see for the coming, who knows? I mean, it's anybody's guess. But X Day, I do believe, is going to be a catalyst of a new era. And we've said it probably. If you've been taking shots during the video every time we said something about excitement for X Day, then you'd be pretty intoxicated right now. Nonetheless, yeah, dude, be on the lookout because Elrond just keeps dropping more announcements as we approach X Day, and that's where we first learned about these different political leaders that are going to be at X Day. So yeah, man, pretty exciting stuff, and I don't know. I just think that the picture is going to be painted and we'll have a lot to talk about in the next episode. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, man. Well, I hope you have an exciting and wonderful time at X Day and a wonderful time in Paris, France. And just, I hope, uh, I hope it's awesome for you, dude. And I hope the conference really lives up to what the team is trying to make it become.
Yeah, yeah. I think aside from all the hype, I think that I'm just really kind of looking forward to kind of some foundational parts of the ecosystem. Again, I don't think that I ever needed a MEX 2.0 in terms of the tokenomics, but because the Elrond team told us, all right, we're collecting thoughts and we're going to have a new model for you, the fact that the team has told us that we're going to have a MEX 2.0, at that point, it's like, okay, we need to hear about it. Like, this has been a meme at this point, and we need to hear something. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this big reveal or unveil of everything that's going on. But first and foremost, I'm just looking forward to hearing baseline information about the ecosystem and what we're looking at in terms of Elrond as well as the MEX token growth.
Yes, Mex tokenomics is definitely something that we're all really hoping or really expecting at this point at X Day. It's been a long time coming, and it's about time we hear about what's to change for the economics.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, episode 17, hashtag Road to X Day. It's all going to be revealed in just a week's time or so. And yeah, stay tuned on the podcast Elrond Twitter. I'm going to be posting maybe frequent updates. Maybe I'll post some sort of video. I'm going to have my camera and a microphone to see if there's anybody who I can chat with. So we'll see if Podcast Elrond does release any sort of official kind of X Day coverage. But yeah, man, it's pretty crazy now that we're doing episodes once every 3 weeks instead of once every 2 weeks. The episode 18 is going to drop in mid-November, around like November 19th. So we've got a good bit of time to kind of see what what happens at X Day, and then as we kind of near the MEX, or rather the locked MEX unlock schedule, yeah, I'm just looking forward to hearing what happens with MEX, because specifically if people are incentivized to hold their locked MEX rather than sell it for EGLD or swap it for EGLD on Maiar exchange, then obviously that will help the price of the MEX token altogether. But yeah, dude, it's crazy how the year is really coming to an end. Next time we'll be talking through the podcast Elrond platform will be just in 3 weeks or so. So, man, we'll just buckle up and hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully we'll have a banger time at X Day, all of us, whether you're in person or watching through the live stream. Next episode, we should have a whole lot of information. Fingers crossed. If we have a lot to talk about, then I think that means that good things happened.
Yeah, dude. If there's not a lot to talk about, then there might be some things to just rethink about.
Yeah, I mean, I like to be a proponent of the team, and it's kind of like everything kind of comes to this crescendo, kind of this climax. And I've been in crypto for years now, so I understand that it's the bleeding edge and it takes time to grow. But when it comes to true, what's next level for a project like Elrond, a company like Elrond, XDay is really important. It's going to be key for the world to see what they're bringing to the table. And I love the Elrond team, and I really love the passive income that I generate through staking and yield farming on the DEX. But for the longevity and promise of Elrond as a adopted layer 1 protocol, XDay has to be an out of the park home run. It just has to be. And with all the lineup that they've got, from the partners to the speakers, it really just depends. As we talked about earlier, it's like, are these speakers going to be talking about the metaverse? And hello, I'm the CEO of Yuga Labs, and this is what we're doing with NFTs, and this is how they can be used, versus this is Yuga Labs. This is Elrond. We acknowledge the benefit of the symbiosis here. We're partnering. We're doing this. We're making waves. Like there's going to be a clear distinction between this is just a chit chat about the future versus boom, like we are dropping this and this is going to truly, send waves. I hate using that metaphor because it's been overused, but yeah, man. I mean, I hope the team is able to deliver those waves that we kind of expect because a lot of people who over these months have kind of lost their true heart with EGLD, Elrond Network, as some of the announcements and hype have kind of been deflated through the bear market. So we'll see. Every day is a new day, but I really think that X Day needs to be a freaking out of the park grand slam, not even just a home run. Like, man, they're loading up the bases and it's getting down to the wire. We're in the bottom of the ninth. Bases are loaded with 2 outs. And it's like, if you hit the grand slam right now and we walk off, like we're all going to be celebrating around home plate. But if you strike out, like literally everyone's just going to step off of their base and just waltz back to the dugout and pack up and go home. Like I think that's really the duality between what we could expect to see, what we want to see at X Day versus, what, yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, dude. I think we're all expecting some big things for sure, and we need the team to deliver.
Yes, sir. Sick, bro. So yeah, this has been the Road to X Day special. Be on the lookout for me. I'll be rocking at least one of the days. Maybe I'll just wear it every day of the conference, but I've got a black podcast Elrond hoodie. I also have a white cap that has the EGLD Initiative logo on it. So go ahead and say hello and let's get a picture if you really want to. Post it on Twitter, hype it up. But at the end of the day, we're all a part of this ecosystem and just excited to be a part of it.
Well, Steven, I really hope you enjoy your time out there, dude. I hope people do come and say hi, and I just hope it's incredible for you and you enjoy the culture of Paris,
Yes,
number one.
sir. Yeah, we'll see about that jet lag. Hopefully, I'm able to survive out there. But yeah, man, Alec, thanks for the presentations you brought to us about what to expect in terms of the metaverse, what the future of the metaverse is. So definitely like, subscribe, comment what you liked about this episode. And again, always welcome those positive criticisms to help us improve the show. So episode 17, hashtag Road to X Day, is a wrap. Anything else you want to share with us, Alec?
Nah, dude, just excited for you and for the whole community.
Sick, man. Alrighty, well, this has been a great episode, and we'll catch you on the next one. Episode 17, out of here. Peace out.
Peace, everyone.